Hi, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kit.
Welcome to Starry Time, where stars plus lines.
Equal stories.
In this week's episode, we'll be getting silly and exploring the pop culture of the constellation Camelopardalis, the giraffe.
In this episode, we share our favorite and least favorite occurrences of the month's constellation in pop culture.
As always, our definition of pop culture is as broadly defined as we can possibly make it.
And then we'll end by taking over the brand to wish upon a star for what we wish existed using the Camelopardalis branding.
Kit, I'm excited. This was a hard one, though.
This one was hard. I don't feel like there was any disambiguation page. It doesn't appear on the Stargate as a glyph. Fictional giraffes, not as fruitful as I expected. So yeah, this one was difficult. It was a tough one.
Yeah, I did a lot of Google searching and Wikipediaing just for Camelopardalis in quotes. Have not seen a single thing that has been licensed or branded with this full scientific / constellation name out there.
Oh, I found a couple things, so I'm excited to share them.
Okay, brilliant, because that shows that your research skills were more than mine. I did think of this word Camelopardalis as, this compound word, this combination of camel and leopard. And I found a moment in time where there was another hybrid word that was a pop cultural, one can only call it a pop cultural moment that inspired songs, music, poems, musical sketches.
I know what it's going to be.
High fashion. It is, of course, the compound word Giraffe Mania, which gripped
that's
Europe.
Not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, wow. That's why we do this podcast. Yes.
I thought you were going to say camel toe.
No, it was not.
Okay,
no,
go ahead.
It is, in fact, Giraffe Mania, a different compound word, combining the word giraffe with the word mania. Which has often happened in many pop cultural moments, Beatlemania, for instance. However, Giraffe Mania occurred in 1827 when the Viceroy of Egypt gave live giraffe specimens to the kings of Britain and France, as well as the Emperor of Austria. And giraffes had not been seen since the Roman times. And one giraffe, the French giraffe Zarafa, very creative name, Zarafa the giraffe, trekked by foot from Marseille to Paris and generated great excitement in towns as she passed through 41 days. There are depictions of Charles X of France, trying to climb and ride this giraffe. There is a woman's hairstyle called a la giraffe, where they would try to put their hair up in giraffe-like horns. So yes, my favorite pop cultural appearance was when giraffes captured the world of Western civilization, and we can see them in comics. We can see them even in pastries that are named after them at the time that still exist. So yeah, Giraffomania from 1827 to 1829. That is my favorite pop culture occurrence of Camelopard.
And it wasn't a camel toe, which is probably for the best.
How about you, Kit? What was your favorite occurrence of a Camelopardalis or a giraffe in pop culture?
So I went on a real deep dive on Camelopardalis. And what I found were two things that are sort of the same thing. It's called Camelopardalis cloth and Camelopardalis saint. Camelopardalis saint was an unnamed saint in a manga called Saint Seiya. It is called, what is the long name for it? Let me see. Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, Saint Seiya. This appears to be an extremely big manga, and it has lots of Greek myth things thrown into it. There's lots of, just sort of lore in there. And I guess the Camelopardalis cloth, I'll show you, I'm going to send you a picture right now so you can see it. This is what it looks like. And it's sort of, I don't know if this is also a video game. I know basically nothing about it. But doesn't that look cool?
Yeah, it looks kind of like a cyber giraffe, like Pokemon type thing.
Yeah, you get to wear the suit. That's what it looks like when you're wearing it. I have questions about how that works, but this is what I found. And what I learned was this is a very popular manga. It seems to be very, they're wearing these things called cloths. They seem to have a lot of lore around them. And yeah, so I saw this and I was like, wow, there's too much for me to even consume or fully understand this. But it does use Camelopardalis. I like that there's a lot of Greek myth stuff thrown into it, and that they've gone really deep into the constellation names to make it all sort of fit together. So that's where I'm at. That's what I chose as my favorite.
Well, I didn't even know this existed, and I tried real hard to find Camelopardalis pop culture.
Did you find any least favorites?
Oh, Kit, I did indeed. I'm afraid this may be someone's favorite, least favorite. I don't know. But it does bear mentioning. I don't think you can have pop culture without mentioning Jeffrey, the Toys R Us giraffe.
Oh, wow. Great. I forgot all about Jeffrey. Yep.
I did not. Jeffrey has been with me my whole life. In fact, predates me. Goes all the way back to the 1960s. I did a lot of psychoanalytic research on mascots.famdom.com into Jeffrey the giraffe over his evolution, different forms he's taken. As I said, the psychology of this character. I found some really interesting sentences that were used to describe him and his "I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid" symbology. I saw some great comparisons of him to Ronald McDonald and Chuck E. Cheese. I found out that he has a wife named Gigi and children named Baby G, and that they were portrayed as a nuclear giraffe family. I learned that the cultural mood was suburban, family-centered consumerism, where even mascots mirrored domestic life.
Right.
So Jeffrey represents a lot of things. One thing I saw in quotes here, quote, "He was too cheerful to match reality, turning him into a hollow idol of failed consumer dreams when Toys R Us collapsed, and Jeffrey's smile became uncanny."
Oh,
woo! So yeah, that got my least favorite written all over.
Wow, I haven't thought about Jeffrey the giraffe in a long time. Didn't know the extended universe either. So I did look at pictures. Forgot that the spots were stars. That's kind of that's compelling in terms of a constellation. But yeah, definitely forgot all about Toys R Us mascots. So that's on me.
I mean, I took the giraffe prompt very literally, and Jeffrey's been haunting me long before I even knew what King Cake Baby was. So glad to give him a shout out as my least favorite.
If anybody does not know about King Cake Baby, mascot of the New Orleans Pelicans, do yourself a favor right now. Pause this podcast. Give it a quick Google. You're welcome.
Can you give me your least favorite?
I actually have two. So the first one, again, and I will post all of these images, of course, over on our socials at Storytime Pod on the Universityn server of Mastodon. There'll be a link in the show notes. I'm sending right now a picture of a champagne glass that is called Camelopardalis. I'm just not really a big fan of the style. It's a little sort of like wibbly wobbly champagne glass. It's not really my personal style. There's something about it that I just don't prefer. But the thing that really got me was how expensive a single glass was. Would you like to guess how much a single glass of the Camelopardalis champagne glass costs?
Does it come with the champagne in the glass?
I do not believe so.
All right, just for the glass itself.
Yes.
I mean, the most I can imagine this possibly being is per glass, $10.
Per glass.
Yeah.
Great guess. It's in euro, but I've equivalent. So the US dollar equivalent would be $257.46 for a single glass.
No champagne included.
Correct.
Man, it costs a lot of money to have a personality with your wine glass. If that's the way, your champagne glass, if that's the way you want to show you're unique, it's quite an economic commitment.
Yes. So it's just not my style and it's very expensive. And I'm like, who's selling one single champagne glass is another thing.
It also seems like it'd be more likely to spill because it's tall and skinny. It doesn't even have like the thing I would want about a wine glass, which that it would have like a good center of gravity.
Right. I also saw something called the Camelopardalis coin. It's in a Wii game called Endless Ocean 2, not Endless Ocean 1, Endless Ocean 2, which I didn't know anything about. It's a coin that's found in the deep hole. So that's where it's found. It does have the constellation engraved on it, so I like that. But I don't know anything about this game. So I guess this isn't really like a favorite or a least favorite, just something that I noticed. And if anybody has played Endless Ocean 2 and wants to tell me more about it, that'd be great.
So we've done our favorites, our least favorites, and then giraffes, etc. Can we now move on to what we wish existed?
Sure. Do you want to start us off?
Kit, I'd be happy to. So what I wished exist for, or what I wished upon a star for, was something that I am calling Giraffe Park.
Okay. Great.
And
already in.
My theory about Giraffe Park is, evolution works, but it's really slow. And, we've proven everything that we can do through like selective breeding with wolves past, 100,000 years. We've created quite a diversity of breeds here. I think we should just get weird with it. I'd like to see if we could selectively breed for the longest necks. Could we get to like brachiosaur neck giraffes? Could we get really small giraffes, for the home?
I do like the idea of like a tiny giraffe. Like they have like tiny cows and like tiny goats. Like a tiny giraffe is a very compelling idea.
We're not going to get dinosaurs. So if we want things with giant necks, this is as close as we're going to get.
Great point.
I like to see how big can we make them. Let's see. I don't know. How about you? What did you wish for existed with the Camelopardalis brand name?
So I want it to be Camelopardalis, so little dashes there. And I want it to be a word game like Balderdash or Taboo, where you have to invent like a creative name for obscure or extinct or pretend animals and like convince people that you're right. Because Camelopardalis sounds like a fake name. It's literally just like camel leopard. And I want to see that sort of energy brought into a game related to animals. So not just like define any words, but really make it a little, as you say, more niche. Just always try to fill a niche. And I think Camelopardalis, the game, would be very fun and funny. And I think we could use some of those like medieval bestiary images.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's what I think we should do, and I think that would be a great use of the brand.
There's all sorts of different combinations you could do. I love Camelopardalis. I love the idea of like a bestiary balderdash word game.
And like I think about like all those like cool illustrations that you see people do nowadays where it's like they imagine, you know, animals and they draw them in like a very scientific way. I follow a few of those people on social media and just that would be a really cool use of some of those like ideas and some of that artwork and even like historical artwork as well, sort of mixed in. I think would be kind of a fun use of those kinds of things.
Well, Kit, it's only a matter of time for one of our wishes come true.
This has been Kit
and Jordan,
sisters who love stars and stories.
And we'll see you next time
on Story Time.